Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your September 2021 Mercury Retrograde reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Capricorn be affected by the September 2021 Mercury Retrograde? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. How will Capricorn be affected by the September 2021 Mercury Retrograde? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels, oh goodness, and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. I love that your gifts from divinity, from spirit, are coming out overturned. So it's like you're seeing them as they're coming to you, even before they arrive. You're seeing them coming, and that's really nice. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. So at the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. At our root, we have the mage, which is the magician, and that's absolutely beautiful. We're taking all of these gifts, we're really utilizing them. As above, so below. As we think it, so it becomes. So we do have to be mindful of our mind during this time, of our thoughts and our actions to those thoughts. We have the sun shining through. There really is a blessing that is around us coming in. The sun is the happiest card in the whole entire tarot. We have the Ace of Earth, prosperity, success, bounty, abundance, being given by God, source, spirit, however you see the divine, the universe. Then at our crown, here, well, not at our crown, but above, we have the Six of Earth, a sense of needing things to be balanced, needing things to gain an understanding. And then there is the Ten of Cups, blessings into the home, blessings into ourselves, a sense of really seeing what it is that we want and how it is that we want to move forward and where it is that we want to be and what happiness is for us. That's going to be a very big thing during this Mercury retrograde. It's not going to be what happiness is for everybody else. It's like, what is happiness for me? What is prosperity for me? What is it that I desire in my world at this time? Then we have the Knight of Cups, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. And with the Knight of Cups, we're guarding our hearts during this time a little bit, but our hearts are actually also going to be the force that moves us forward and the blessing that really inspires us. The Ace of Wands, the Ace of Fire, is a gift, again, from God, source, spirit, however you see the divine, the universe. And it's very much coming to us, invoking and embracing our passion and saying, what is it that gets us out of bed in the morning? What is it that drives us? With the Knight of Cups, if we have water sign energy within our chart, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, that's going to be coming through very powerfully in our hearts. And our hearts can be a little bit more sensitive than maybe as an earth sign energy we'd be comfortable with. We are getting a gift coming through that's just for us, with the Ace of Earth coming in as that earth sign energy. But there is the sense here of really letting our hearts guide us, move us, and be a part of us. Now, with the world is opening up to us in a way that we hadn't anticipated. And with the Lovers here, Gemini energy. Now, Gemini energy is all about, well, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And so when we have a Mercury retrograde, we need to know that this Mercury retrograde, especially in the public arena, is going to be having a bit more of an impact on us than if we didn't have the Lovers here, if we didn't have a card or a zodiac sign that is ruled by Mercury coming through. So with the Lovers coming forward, as the world opens to us, it's like, what do we love? What do we want? And that's what our heart has been asking us for this time. And probably before this time, we've really been looking at what's important to me. What do I value? What do I need? What, lights my fire forward? What embraces me? What engulfs me? What is that passionate, beautiful part of me? And then during this Mercury retrograde, because Mercury retrograde is complex, and this Mercury retrograde is going to be like no other. It's a more positive Mercury retrograde, but it also comes with all the complexity and all the, muck in the mire of a Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde sees us going through breakdowns, technological breakdowns, or just feeling overwhelmed and feeling broken down ourselves, and has us increasing our nervousness and our anxiety. And, there are travel delays that cause us stress. And it could even be that we always find ourselves just getting out of the house a little bit later. And we're like, why is this? We also tend to lose things during this time. Things tend to be harder to find than they were normally before Mercury retrograde came into play. So with all of this coming forward, and as the world opens to us, we're going to be finding that we might feel like, wow, this is so much more difficult than it needs to be. But that's how Mercury retrograde is. It makes us feel like things are so much more difficult than they need to be, but they actually have us looking at and have us purging all the negativity around communication and thoughts and contracts and travel and, nervousness and anxiety and losing things and breakdowns that we need to see, all the things that have been holding us back but that we didn't realize. So Mercury retrograde usually lasts about 24 days. It happens 3 to 4 times a year. Thank goodness this year it only happens 3 times, and this is our last Mercury retrograde. We will find ourselves dwelling on things. We can be a little bit obsessive during this time and very reminiscent of the past. The past means a lot to us. Now, it's either going to be that we reminisce about the beauty of the past, or we find that the shadows of the past, the hurts, the pains, the times we didn't feel good enough, or the times when people told us we weren't good enough, they start to come up more and more and more. So we need to step back from that and not let that take control over us. We need to double check all emails, all posts, everything we send out in the mail before we post it, before we send things out. If we can put it aside and look at it after a couple of days, that would be the best thing for us to do. Or even just wait like 5 minutes before posting something, or, just a few minutes before sending that email. Never do anything in anger during Mercury retrograde. It will come back to bite you in the tush. Really, seriously, just don't do it. If you can avoid signing contracts, that's great. If you can't, make sure you have like a lawyer or somebody who can look over things, or again, just put it to the side, wait a little bit, look over it to make sure that it's exactly what you thought, and the idea of what you're signing and the actuality of what you're signing didn't kind of merge into each other. Now, the shadow period of Mercury retrograde began on the 6th of September. This means that you've gotten this idea in your head that has been controlled by an aspect of Mercury. Now, Mercury controls an aspect of everything. It controls our thinking, our speaking, our contracts, our travel, even the nervousness and anxiety that we feel. So there's something that has come up around the 6th of September that we kind of maybe obsessed over a little bit, really thought about, really, found our minds always going back to it. So this is going to come up during Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury retrograde begins on the 27th of September and lasts till the 18th of October. The planetary alignment in Mercury retrograde, I'm not going to go through in this video. It actually is in the full moon videos that were posted just a little while ago. But here, I don't want to overflow you guys with so much information that you'll just not be able to take anything in. There's already so much coming at you. So we're just going to go over the star alignment during Mercury retrograde. And if you're interested in the planetary alignment, then that's going to be in the beginning half of the full moon readings. Now, Mercury is going to be conjunct the fixed star Arcturus. Now, Arcturus is the star about obtaining justice through power. It's about power. It brings us richness, it brings us esteem, and it brings us determination. It's like, this is what I like. I like the richness, I like the esteem, I like the power. That's what I'm going after. This can promote lasting success if we can stay in a positive energy space. We're going to find that during Mercury retrograde, staying in a positive energy mind space, and even after Mercury retrograde, is going to be absolutely invaluable to us. If we can stay in this high energy mind space, and if we can stay in this high energy vibration, we can find ourselves promoting lasting success within our lives. If we can't, all of a sudden we start to feel overwhelmed. We can start to see what we've worked so hard for starting to break apart. And that's going to be something we need to be mindful of. Now, with Mercury conjunct the fixed star Spica, this brings us success, renown, riches, fames, and a nice nature. It's like people start to be just a little bit nicer, which during Mercury retrograde can really start to balance things, because everybody's just a little bit on edge. You know, things get lost in translation a lot. We feel a little bit more frustrated. We feel like, if you could just listen to me, know what I'm saying is actually, people will say that a lot more. What we have to see here with Mercury being conjunct the fixed star Spica is that there's real beauty here. But remember that the success, the renown, the riches, the fame, and the niceness is all going to be relative. It's all going to be depending on that person, their path, where they are in their personal spiritual development in life and in themselves. So during this time, Spica might make a really nice person even nicer. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I met the nicest person and this was amazing. And it'll make a grouchy, grumpy person that we don't like to be around palatable. And so it's going to be different, and we have to remember that. Now, it also brings us a love for the arts and science, but it can be very hard on those of us who are a little bit more innocent, a little bit kinder of nature, and have a gentler approach to life, because the star is all about aligning ourselves with power. So if we don't find that we actually want to align ourselves with power, if we find that we want to align ourselves with our own spiritual happiness, we want to align ourselves with the path that we personally want to walk, we can feel that we're being left out of something, or we can feel like staying true to ourselves is just a little bit harder. So do be mindful of that, and don't let anybody guilt you during this time. It brings also this, Spica brings this above average intuition, psychic development. It brings us into this place of instinct. And as it does, it has this androgynous spiritual, alignment with it that is really quite beautiful and really can be utilized at our root with the mage here. This is a great time for scientists, for writers, for artists, for anybody who is a creative and an innovator. So take advantage of it. Now, Mercury is going to be stationary direct stationary direct from the 18th to the 2nd. Now, this is 2nd of November, so the 18th of October to the 2nd of November. The planetary alignment is going to be Mercury sextile Venus, bringing us this charming, smoothing out energy that really just makes us feel at home within ourselves. And it's time to follow good news. It's time to follow the goodness in life and let love guide us, to really let love be that force forward, which we're going to find a little bit easy because we have the Knight of Cups here. This is also a time to follow peace and to set down roots in what we love, in what we desire, and how we build ourselves forward in life. Mercury is going to be trine Saturn, which brings us determination, achievement, and it lets us tackle things that we have found difficult in the past, like projects and situations that we thought, oh my gosh, this is just so overwhelming, I don't want to deal with it right now, that's for future me. Now we're going to say, oh, I can do that. I can do that. I can handle that. I can fix that. And that's going to be really great for us. Now, the star alignment, Mercury is going to be conjunct the fixed star Vindimatrix. Now, Vindimatrix is a tricky star. We do not want to come to this star with low energy, okay? So Vindimatrix will take advantage of any low energy vibration. And it can bring us a melancholy, a hastiness, a impulsiveness that we just don't want. It's not going to be like, oh, an impulsiveness. It's like, okay, I have to act now. I'm going to go after what I love. This is how I'm going to do it type of thing. It's going to be an impulsiveness where I'm tired of waiting around. I'm tired of being held back. I have to do something. I'm just going to go for it. And then it just causes a whole new set of problems. Now, if we come to this with a lower energy vibration, if we, let's say, watch a lot of true crime, or even just true crime, or really gruesome murder mysteries, or, horror, that's going to lower our energy vibration. It just does. It strips something away. I went through this time just a little while ago where I started watching a bit of true crime things on YouTube, and then it started sending me more, and I started clicking, and then there was this dark, kind of really spooky rabbit hole that I went down, and it lowered my energy vibration, and I felt it. I felt sick, I felt tired, I felt overwhelmed, And I had to pull back. I just had to. I was like, no, this is too bad. And that was only like 2 weeks or maybe a week of doing it. So here, just really be mindful of this, because you'll start to see yourself slip down fast, and you'll be like, well, but this is so interesting. This is something I want to understand more about, like the complexity of human nature and why. You will not understand why. It will just be something that scars you. So do be mindful of it. Vindimatrix can also draw us to the darker and more macabre things in life. And again, true crime, murder, horror. Those are going to be things that we think, oh, well, it's no big deal. And oh, it's fun. I like this. But it's not going to be. It's going to lower our energy vibration. It's going to make us more vulnerable. So do be mindful. Cozy mysteries, like if you're watching Murder, She Wrote or Columbo or even Broken Wood, those are great. But anything really intense and gross, stay away from. Just really seriously do yourself a favor, especially during this time. And if you really love it, just go on a bit of a purge from the 18th to the 2nd. See if you can, and see what happens afterwards. Mercury is also going to be conjunct the fixed star Porvima. Now, Porvima is really, really cool. So if we come to this with a high energy vibration, Porvima actually acts like a superpower. We start to see the underhanded side of people, the underhandedness of them, without being drawn into their underhanded schemes and trickery. But if we come to it with a low energy vibration, we start to become very worried, and we start to think that what we've worked so hard for will just fall apart. We become very nihilistic. It's kind of like, why would I even try? Why would I even, do this or work this hard? It's all just going to end in nothing anyway. And we want to not be in that energy space, especially during this time. Now, at our root here, we have the Mage. The Mage is prosperity and success and bounty. And actually, let's just look here, because I completely forgot of the energy we have to be mindful of during this Mercury retrograde, and that's the Queen of Swords, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. That's Mercury in and of themselves. This is the voice. This is the breath that, the air that fills our lungs. We have to be mindful of what is said during Mercury retrograde. And the fact of the matter is that people during this time can really tend to go for our weaknesses, can really tend to, stick the knife where it will hurt the most. And so if we're prepared for that, if we understand that people are going to fight dirty, we can kind of prepare ourselves a bit more, So that's going to be very important. We also have to be mindful of our words. We can tend to be very frustrated and go for the jugular ourselves during this time. Now with the chakra energy here, let us see. We have divine wisdom. This is the soul star chakra located 6 inches above the crown. Ooh, goodness. Sorry about that. And this is very much a sense of divinity guiding us forward, the wisdom becoming a part of us, and really starting to have the door opened in a way that we hadn't anticipated or expected for ourselves. Excuse me. Now we move to the Magician. As above, so below. As you believe it, so it becomes. And the Magician says here that we stand before the altar of our being. We stand before what is powerful for us. We stand before what is insightful for us. And we start to claim what we want from life and the way that we want to move forward. With this, we claim our power, our insight, our understanding, our determination, our focus, and ourselves. Our mindset is going to be so important, not just for Mercury retrograde, but to let the Magician shine within us, to let our power and our intention come forward. As above, so below. As we think it, as we focus on it, so it becomes. Our mind is more important than we realize. So pay honor and homage to your thoughts. Look at things and say, where am I coming from? Why am I coming from here? It's a little bit of kind of like analyzing ourselves, but stepping back from things and saying, why am I reacting this way? Because we can react very quickly and swiftly during a Mercury retrograde in a very defensive way, because things are just breaking down around us. We feel misunderstood. We feel overwhelmed. We feel like no matter how hard we try, we're not getting to the place that we want to be. And this is a time where we need to say to ourselves, I am getting to where I want to be. I am opening up that door. Nobody gets to have power over me. I get to embrace my own voice, and I get to purge out all the toxicity that has been within me. A Mercury retrograde lets us take out everything that has been misunderstood, everything that has been holding us back, has us trip over it a couple of times, and then we declutter it from our lives. It lets the sun shine within us. Now, when the sun shines within us, when we have the sun, people can tend to take us by eyes. Why? Because they're jealous. They don't understand. Why do you get to have a blessing and I don't? At our very root, at the very essence of our being, is the sense of beauty and prosperity and brilliance shining forward. We get to let ourselves shine. We get to embrace golden opportunities and to sit there in alignment with who we are and where we want to be and open up those doors and say, but this is me. And it can just be an embrace of confidence, a sense of, this is what I love from life. This is how I want to move forward. This is what I desire from myself. And as we have more confidence within ourselves, it makes sense that God, Source, Spirit, again, however we see the divine, the universe, sends us these gifts, gives us this prosperity, says, plant these seeds, see how they grow in you, see what it is that you're developing, see what it is that you're nurturing, and see how to embrace that in the everyday world, to move yourself forward in passion and beauty and complexity and brilliance and love and joy. And it lets us see where we've been out of balance. And I always think this rock right here looks like a sleeping lion, kind of just, or a dragon just turned to stone and will come out, when the time is right. And then we have the little lizards all about here, where it's like, this is what a baby dragon is, right? A little lizard. And so here we're finding this balance between ferocity and the everyday or normalcy. And we're also going to find the sharing of the water, the sharing of the life of inspiration, the sharing of the wisdom and the heart and the soul and the self. And we need to have things come into balance with the 6 of earth. We need to have ourselves come into balance. And it moves us into our hearts. Now, our hearts with the 10 of cups says, what do I love? What do I need? And what do I want? What is the blessing that gets to be a part of me and the blessing that gets to guide me forward? So with the 10 of cups, I always love the Nordic saying, and it always makes me think of, this card always makes me think of the Nordic saying, better to be king of a cottage than servant of a castle. And so often we go for the bigger and the better, right? The bigger the house, the better the house. The bigger the car, or the fancier the car, the better the car. And we keep on upselling ourselves. And that's what our society does, because if you're content, you're not going to be a consumer. So here, with the 10 of cups, we start to say, but this is what I love. This is what I want for my life. This is the beauty and the prosperity and the brilliance and the honor and the greatness that is me. And it gets to open up the door. It gets to bless me and move me forward. It gets to embrace all the joy and the laughter that is a part of me. I get to have myself here in love with my existence, in love with my life, in love with my partner, or just with the masculine and feminine aspects of myself. I get to be honoring the inner child, or honoring my existence with my children, or the people that I am helping to raise and move forward with. So here there is a sense of beauty and prosperity and brilliance of heart coming forward, and also letting us know that everybody's happiness is going to be just a bit different. Everybody's happiness, though we define it simply as happiness, it's all different. The type of person we want to be in a relationship with is different. The way that we want to live is different. Do we want to live in a city, or do we want to live in the country? Do we want, big families or small families, or do we want to just, be pet parents? Like, what is it that we want to be in our lives? And how is it that that's embracing our souls and ourselves and letting us move forward in happiness? And let us not, during this time especially, compare our happiness to anybody else, but to say, I'm doing my best, and I'm opening up my heart to what I need, what I love, and what I want from my life, and nobody else's. It then moves us to the Knight of Cups. We become the warrior of our heart. We become the enhancer of our soul, the brilliance of ourselves. This beautiful connection starts to come forward. We need to rise above the chaos of emotions, and that can be something that we find a little bit tricky during the Mercury retrograde. We also really need to embrace our heart chakra and let our heart chakra wrap itself around us, meaning that we need to connect with our hearts, to our inner child, to who we were. We can think, oh, I've changed so much, but that person still lives within us. And so opening up our hearts, opening up our souls, calming ourselves, centering ourselves, embracing what we love becomes intrinsically and powerfully important as we drink deeply of our inspiration. And it moves us to the Ace of Wands, passion and fire and determination and focus and insight and ideas. It moves us to this place where we're like, oh, but this is me. This is the gift that divinity is giving me. God, Source, Spirit, however we see, again, the divine, the universe, is giving us this gift of passion and insight and determination and focus and brilliance and fire, giving us gifts for the earthly realm. The gift of the Ace of Earth is a bit subtler, a bit calmer, a bit steadier. The gift of the Ace of Fire is a bit more consuming. It's a bit more determined. It pushes us forward in a very different way. And as they come together, they have us standing on the earth with power, resilience, and great understanding. It moves us to the world. The world has opened to us in a way that we didn't think it was going to during Mercury retrograde. Now, we can find it frustrating because, again, we tend to run late for things, or things don't tend to start on time, even if we're there. And we can feel anxious about everything that we're doing and nervous about everything. And we need to make sure that we're embracing good coping mechanisms instead of ones that we, developed when we were little that don't actually serve us a good stabilizing purpose. So with the world opening up, we need to see where we stand within the world and why we stand there. We need to say, this is my strength, this is my power, this is my wisdom, this is my insight, this is how I'm moving forward. And as we look at the world, it doesn't mean that we have to take the world by storm. It doesn't mean that everybody has to be screaming our names and red carpets get to be rolled out. I mean, for me, that would be awful. I would think that was absolutely terrifying and terrible. For some people, they would love that. And so we have to look at that balance. Again, it's looking at ourselves. What is our happiness? How do we define ourselves? What do we love? What do we need? What do we want? And so the world opens to us and we start to see our place within this world. It's not a know your place type of thing, that scolding type of who do you think you are. It's the fact that all our personalities are a bit different. We are all different people, and we'll find the place where we feel comfortable in a very different, very beautiful, very powerful way. And we get to stand within that energy, that soul, that stuff, that self, that brilliance. And then it moves us to the Lovers. Now, the Lovers is falling in love with life again. It's embracing what we love and what we desire. But again, because it is ruled by Mercury, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. What we're going to find here is that Mercury retrograde greatly impacts our public arena self. It holds a bit of complexity to it, as a Mercury retrograde always does. And we're going to see this impacting the public arena more than anything else. Now, it can be that we get annoyed. Again, things don't run on time. We're losing things. We feel that things break down. Like, we could be texting somebody and they could not be understanding what we're saying, and we think we're making ourselves perfectly clear. Or we could be talking to somebody and the phone's cut out, or whatever is going on, or emails get lost, or just the weirdest things start to happen, and we just feel frustrated with the whole entire thing. And we're like, why is this going on? What is this? And we can really let it take away the way that we step into the world. We can really let it tinge this whole entire time with frustration and anger and a sense of I just need to do better, or everybody else just needs to do better. No, this is a time where we say, okay, you know what? Life happens. Things don't always work as we had planned. It's frustrating. It's aggravating. I get that. But I'm walking forward in love and compassion. I'm walking forward gently and kindly on this earth. And I'm embracing who I am and what I need and what I desire for myself and how I need to move forward in my life. And that's going to be a game changer for us. Now, let us see here the subconscious energy that we need to be mindful of is the star. We need to be mindful of getting too caught up in the wishes of ourselves, the wishes of others. We need to be mindful of the idea of having it all. The stars, I'm just hearing Spirit say, like, the stars, the sun in the sky, I can have it all. And Spirit saying, yes, you can, but it's going to have to be cultivated to you. You can have all that is correct for the development of your soul, for the power of yourself at this time. But it all, the way that we think of it, is too much, and it becomes suffocating. It becomes too much, and then you lose yourself somehow. So we have to be very mindful. We're going to also be very attracted to people who want to have it all, who want to push the barrier and become more successful and more successful and more successful, and that's great. But they need to know when enough is enough, to step into their world and appreciate their world, live their life with love and with dignity and with beauty, because time, though we tend to think, oh, it'll always be there, it isn't. Or at least time may always be there, but we may not be with it. So just to say that, and it sounds macabre, but to say as we grow older, that's a gift. And our world today, we value youth above almost everything else, and it's insane. But to grow and to live and to experience, that's a blessing. That is something that not everybody gets to do. And then we have our subconscious chakra message, and that's our inner child. And that's what Spirit was saying before with the healing. And I don't remember exactly where it was, where we see ourselves stepping into the world and we see ourselves embracing with our hearts. And I believe it was here with the Knight of Cups. We see ourselves looking at our inner child. And the exercise that I love to do whenever this card comes up is to see ourselves standing before the child that we were. Not when everything was rosy and perfect and wonderful, but when childhood got complicated and hard, when we felt like we weren't being seen, like our voice was being forgotten, where we felt like we just weren't good enough. And hold our arms open to that child. Hold our arms open to that love and that connection and that healing and that brilliance. And let ourselves be empowered. Let ourselves say to that child, I'm here for you. I care for you. I love you. I will always love you. And I will always stand by you. I will always listen to you. And I always see you. That's what we need. And that becomes a game changer. It moves us to our subconscious rooted self. And that is justice. Now, this is Libra energy. And this is a sense of being discerning, saying this is the energy that I need to empower me and to move me forward. This is the balance and the harmony and the insight for me. Justice isn't just the white page, the black print, everything being spelt out crystal clear. What justice is a discernment. What energy is right for me and my soul, and what energy isn't. What's helping me to guide forward, what's helping me to live my life in truth and in beauty and in alignment with myself, and what's hindering me, what's holding me back. And then moves us to our subconscious inner self. And that's the Two of Fire. The Two of Fire here is healing. The Two of Wands is healing. The Two of Wands is seeing a way forward that we hadn't before, is finding that healing beauty within ourselves, to open up our doors, to open up our greater understanding, to see the power and the beauty of ourselves, and to move that forward. It leads us then to our subconscious emotional self. And that's the King of Swords. We are greatly impacted by this Mercury retrograde. Okay, the swords, again, are aligned with Mercury. And so we need to cut through the doubts and the fears and the negativity. The words that come through that don't have a beautiful meaning to them. The way that we try to sabotage ourselves. The way that we, our thoughts try to hold us back. And we need to say, I fought so hard to embrace my voice, to embrace my power, to stand in what I believe. And I'm not going to be held back, denied, or silenced. And this is moving forward with severe determination, because the King of Swords is the warrior king, just as the Queen of Swords is the warrior queen. We can be a little bit too quick to be the warrior queen, the warrior, especially around this sense of emotions and connections with others. With the warrior king, we need to hold ourselves just a bit separate. A bit of aloofness is not going to be a bad thing during this time, and really look at the greater picture that we have and the greater goals that we have. It then moves us to our subconscious public arena self, and that is judgment. We find ourselves coming out of the darkness, and the world is going to be very impactful. The public arena is going to be very impactful because we have only major arcana cards here. And so here, there's an intensity, there's a fire, there's a power, there's a brilliance to us that we start to see. We're coming out of the darkness, we're coming out of the box, we're stepping out of what we had thought was where we were going to be, or what we needed, or what we wanted, or, what we were, or what we are. And we're stepping into something so much more. And we're finding ourselves rising. We're finding ourselves embracing our courage and our determination and our focus. And we find ourselves, again, just rising out of darkness, rising out of a rut or a sense of inadequacy that really is quite beautiful. I mean, it's really beautiful the way that we're claiming our power during this Mercury retrograde. Now, the thing that you heard fall before was the striker for the singing bowl, which I'm going to get right now, so you guys get to hear my squeaky floor. Okay. All right, Capricorn. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the complexity of this Mercury retrograde. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Capricorn. And may you have a blessed Mercury retrograde.